Let's share another model with you, and that is which path to pick, plan A or plan B. Closer Walk once wrote these words: ask a man his occupation, and you have learned how he pays his bills. Ask him his preoccupation, and you have discovered his passion in life. And if his occupation and preoccupation are the same, you have found a worker who is worthy of his hire. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about plan A and plan B, which plan to pick and which plan will follow. There are some distinctions between plan A and plan B. Plan A is all about a career track. Plan B is more the job track. Plan A is much more about fulfillment, where plan B's focus is on finances. Plan A is a striving strategy. Plan B tends to be a surviving strategy. Plan A is the ideal job. Plan B is the get real job. Plan A is much more about making a life, where plan B is much more about making a living. In summary, we call plan A the quest for the best, where plan B is the allure of the available. The answer to which path to pick is to prepare plans for both. Let me underscore that. To answer to which path to pick is to prepare plans for both. Then pick the path to pursue first. For example, you might pick what we would call the fallback path. That would be begin the campaign by pursuing plan A position. Accept the position if the ideal opportunity opens up for you. How great that would be. But otherwise, after a predetermined date, which I would suggest you mark on the calendar, if you haven't found that plan A job by that date, shift the campaign, fall back, and pursue plan B, where the odds should be better in terms of finding a job. That's the fallback path, starting with A, falling back to B. Alternatively, you might want to pick the Pathstone path. Here, you begin the campaign by pursuing plan B, and you would accept a position where you can then use that position to begin to build a better platform so ultimately you can go after your plan A. And again, after a predetermined date, again, marked on your calendar, you would begin the new campaign to either pursue another plan B position that gets you again a little bit closer to the ultimate plan A position, or simply go pursue plan A. It's sort of like a sailboat that needs to tack this side, that side, back, forth. Each time it's getting closer to the end destination, although it's not a straight course to get there. So, which path are you going to pick? Which plan are you going to pick to go first? You're going to try for the plan A or start with plan B? Are you going to start with plan A, and if it doesn't succeed, fall back to a plan B? Or are you going to start with plan B, hunker down, rebuild your resources, rebuild your platform, and then launch into plan A? One more decision model, one more choice you need to make. Really, when you look at it, it gets down to what we would call the sweet spot of success, where X marks the spot. To help you form your plan A, you may ask, how do you determine the ideal job? The one that will give you this sense of fulfillment and put you on the quest for the best. It is the work God has prepared for you that aligns you with 3 key success factors where X marks the spot. The first key success factor is excellence. Excellence. What work do you do with excellence? Where you have an expertise, where it is effortless when you do well. It would be a super strength, something common across all of your achievements. So the first X is excellence. The second key success factor is excitement. Excitement. What work do you do that you really enjoy, that gives you joy? What work energizes you, fires you up, puts fire in your belly? The one that you can't wait to do. The one that you would even do if nobody paid you to do it. What work gives you excitement? The third and final success factor is experience. Remember, track record sells. So what work do you do that the marketplace values and is willing to pay you to do? If you need help to discern these three key success factors in your life, we would recommend that you acquire the material from our website called Uniqueness of You, which is available either in a career transition workshop, resource center, or available online at our website. Let's look, though, at the ideal job in relationship to fantasy versus reality, or hits or myths. You know, there are really three myths, which, by the way, is not a female moth, which job seekers need to know. The first is the myth of transferable skills. So you want to change careers. Many career coaches talk about transferable skills. They suggest you make a list of all the skills that you have that might transfer from one type of job to another. As an example, organizational skills or communication skills or interpersonal skills. You know, it is not like this list is going to really help you narrow down your options. Most transferable skills are valuable in any field, in any industry. So what is going to help you change careers? Three things. One, loyal links. Loyal links are better than networking nodes. These people aggressively market you to others. They tell others that they know you and you know them, and the match would make just an awesomely good fit. You know, forget about the resume. Just listen to what I'm telling you. You need to meet this guy. You need to meet this gal. They're going to be a perfect fit for you. That's what a loyal link is. No loyal link? Boy, I wouldn't be transferring. And then there's the employment platform. Hiring authorities, again, tend to make the least cost, least risk decision, least controversial decision. You represent really a development project. When you are unemployed, you're really asking them to take all the risk and absorb all the costs associated with hiring you and letting you learn your new career. In their minds, they are asking, hey, what's the matter? Can't you find a job back where you came from? But you know what? When you're employed, when you have that employment platform, you are saying that you're willing to sacrifice the job that you now have for the opportunity to work with them, potentially for less. In their minds, they are now saying, hey, seems fair. We are both taking risks and making sacrifices. So if you are unemployed, go back and get a job like you had, then start looking for the career change. And let me remind you that the best place is within the company where you're now working. The final issue related to transferable skills is turn an avocation into a vocation, a hobby into your new job. Start working your new career on a part-time basis, like a hobby. Work evenings and weekends initially. As the demand for what you do grows, it will naturally start encroaching on your day job. Then you will know it's time to jump. So, should you try for something new, a new career? Not unless you have loyal links, the employment platform, and can potentially turn an avocation into a vocation. The second myth is the myth of MLMs. which are multi-level marketing companies, or straight commission sales jobs. Often these are pitched as an easy way to earn a lot of money, get rich quick. When you're unemployed and have no money coming in, that sounds pretty good. These are entrepreneurial tracks, since you usually bear all or most of the risk associated with success versus failure. To be successful, be careful. You need these things. First, ramp up resources. You will be starting from zero. It will be a startup. New territory, new products, new business, new energies, new company. You're starting from zero. Or you may even have to make an investment like buying inventory or promotional materials. So you actually start out less than zero and need to make up for what you've already spent. The goal is then to get to break even somewhere up that ramp. So here's the question. Do you have the financial resources to endure the losses before breaking even? These organizations, MLMs and organizations that just compensate sales through straight commission, these organizations experience high turnover of first-year people who die on the ramp. Here's what I would do. I would ask them what their first-year turnover rate is. If they don't know, that's ridiculous. What company would not know how many people are no longer with them that started with them in a single year? Companies measure turnover. Companies that are embarrassed about turnover claim they don't know it. Remember, if you close a few sales, it may not be enough to live on, but you still end up helping the company make a profit. Consequently, a company can focus on simply recruiting tons of people who sell a little, but collectively add a lot to the company's bottom line. So the first thing to consider is ramp up resources. The second thing is sales skills. If you have never sold, odds are good that you're not a natural sales professional. Learning sales by the manual will make you a good amateur, but you're ready then to make all the rookie mistakes. The third and final thing I would suggest to take this path would be that you need an established network. MLMs generally promote your family and friends as your established network of potential buyers. The problem is that once none of your family or friends will talk to you anymore, you hit the wall and needing to make cold calls. That's when most folks fail. Most MLMs have unethical recruiting practices. They're unwilling to confess that they are network marketing companies. They have to recruit bunches each day because bunches are dying on the ramp. So there are a few, don't get me wrong, there are a few ethical MLMs. Everybody knows one or two, but generally you can count them on one hand after a severe lawnmower accident. Let's deal with the next myth. The myth of consulting. It's our final myth. You've worked hard for your money over the years. You've gained some real insights into your business. Hey, why not try being one of those high-paid consultants? Well, you need a couple of things here as well. First, specialized wisdom. To be successful as a consultant, you must have a niche specialization that's not common. For example, who needs a general business consultant? Because everybody knows something general about business. People make the best use of consultants when they either do something that the company rarely does or know something in depth that the company knows little about. This wisdom factor comes with maturity. Wisdom represents applied knowledge. Knowing something is one thing, knowing how it is applied in a variety of situations is wisdom. Sales skills and established network, it's same on any entrepreneurial track. In consulting, 50% of the time you will spend will be spent on practice development, which is in essence sales, and 50% on delivery. Understand these three factors. Make sure they're going for you before you choose to make one of your paths a consulting path. I love this expression, that consulting. It's really about, if you're not part of the solution, there's good money to be made in prolonging the problem. Well, that's not necessarily the mantra of ethical and good consultants with character. But it does remind me of a story I once heard. It goes like this. One day, a shepherd was looking after his sheep on the edge of a deserted road. Suddenly, a brand new Mercedes SUV screeches to a halt next to him. The driver, a young man dressed in a Barani suit, Soretti shoes, Ray-Ban glasses, and an Yves Saint Laurent tie, gets out and asks the shepherd, "Hey, if I guess how many sheep you have, will you give me one of them?" The shepherd was dumbfounded. He looks at the young man and kind of looks over at the sheep and says, "Well, sure." The young man parks his car, connects the laptop to a mobile device, enters the NASA site, scans the ground using his GPS, opens a database, and 60 Excel tables are filled with algorithms, and then prints a 150-page report on this high-tech mini printer, studies all of that. Then he turns to the shepherd and says, "You have exactly 1,586 sheep right here." The shepherd answers, "That's amazing. That's correct. I guess you can have one of my sheep." The young man takes one, puts it in the back of his SUV, starts up, just about ready to leave, but the shepherd catches him and looks at him and says, "Hey, can I ask you a question? If I guess your profession, will you give it back to me?" Well, the young man answers, "Sure, why not?" And the shepherd says, "Why, you're a management consultant." The young man asks, "How'd you know?" He says, "Very simple. First, you came here without being called. Second, you charged me a sheep to tell me something that I already knew. And third, you don't know anything about what I do because you took my dog." Consulting. Maybe it's a way of life for you. Be careful of your choice.